Thank you all for joining us at our Environics Analytics 17th Annual User Conference. My name is Janukum Trinidad, my pronouns are she, they, and I am the Digital Marketing Manager here at Environics Analytics, or EA for short.
And I'm Grant McGuire, and I'm the Brand Marketing Manager here at EA.
So this is a very exciting time of year for us at the company, and we're thrilled to have you all here today at the Carlu in Toronto. And we acknowledge the land we are meeting on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And Toronto is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to the original stewards and caretakers of this land, where many of our staff and clients live, work, learn, and share knowledge and insights like we're gathered to do so on this day. Whether this is your first time at an EA user conference or your fifth time, we're honored to have you here. And for those who don't know, our team is comprised of proud data geeks, but we also take pride in creating a workplace that champions important values and celebrates everyone's unique identities. We believe our inner work at EA helps us build better relationships with our clients and our partners. At EA, our diversity makes us strong. We strive to ensure all people are treated equally and to be a culturally competent organization. Each staff member at EA holds a responsibility to treat others with dignity and respect. We have established our Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, or JEDI, Council to focus on creating a safe environment for all employees of all abilities, ethnicities, beliefs, genders, and sexual identities. Under the JEDI Council, we have many subcommittees, but these are just a few we'd like to recognize. Pride at EA is our vibrant network of 2S LGBTQ+ colleagues and allies who are committed to creating a safe and supportive workplace for 2S LGBTQ individuals by raising awareness of important issues, educating and strengthening collegial relationships, and enhancing visibility here at EA and the broader community. Our Green Team strives to decrease EA's collective carbon footprint by implementing innovative practices and sustainable solutions, ensuring a greener impact on the environment. Through impactful initiatives, the Green Team aims to inspire and enable every EA team member to adopt green habits in their daily routines, contributing to a more sustainable workplace and planet. And finally, our Educational Outreach, or EOC, which was formed in 2015, is used to provide data, software, and support to colleges and universities across Canada. One of the EOC's objectives is to enhance students' experience by providing opportunities to use real-world tools in the academic environment. Currently, the EOC engages with over 20 schools and student-based organizations by offering free data for coursework, guest lectures, sponsorships for competitions and conferences, scholarships, internships, and full-time employment opportunities.
Just going to adjust this a little. Before we get started, I would like to take the opportunity to walk through how today's schedule will work. So please make yourselves comfortable as we'll be in the concert hall for the next little bit. First, we will be here until the morning break, followed by back-to-back plenary sessions after the opening remarks. We will have an industry panel here in the concert hall on data-driven media buying, featuring executives from Bell, Chorus, and Rogers, who will be joining our president, Jan Kestle, on stage. After that, we will be unveiling our Partner of the Year award and doing our first of 3 raffle draws for those physically in attendance, before a short 15-minute break transitions us into the first 2 of the breakout blocks. For those of you joining us virtually via the live feed, you will rejoin us after the concert hall portion in the morning at 12:25 for Dr. Doug Norris's keynote speech on immigration and aging in Canada. And then once again at 2:30 p.m. for our product team's update on our innovation journey following the 3rd and 4th blocks of breakout sessions. For in-person attendees, the breakout sessions will be running concurrently across the 3 rooms, here in the concert hall, and then across the foyer in the Sky Room and the Round Room. Throughout the day, you will be prompted to come into the various rooms as we have 5-minute transitions between the breakout blocks. And you will find agendas at the center of each of your tables here in the concert hall, as well as throughout the venue.
So So just outside these doors at the back of this room, in between the two building columns, we invite you to stop by our Solutions Center and Live at EA stations to request live demos of our products and software and chat with our team about our culture and special initiatives, including the previously named JEDI, EOC, Green, and Pride committees.
If you have any questions, concerns, or requests throughout the day, please look for our team wearing the purple EA shirts or anyone with a EA name badge or myself.
And we'd like to thank all of you for your time today, taking time out of your busy schedules to join us and hear from our EA team and distinguished guest presenters. And this year's theme is Discover the Data Difference, and you will see countless examples across several industries of how our clients are leveraging data and analytics to address their business challenges. And to our presenters, as a gesture of our recognition and gratitude for providing us with such rich and engaging content, we will be donating in your name to STEM Fellowship, a charitable organization that focuses on providing mentorship to high school and university students who are underrepresented in STEM fields, including data and analytics.
And now, without further ado, it is our great pleasure to introduce someone who needs no introduction, but I'll do so anyway, Jan Kestle. Jan has and continues to be a pioneer and a leader in the marketing information industry for more than 5 decades. In the last year, Jan was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Canadian Marketing Association, recognizing the immeasurable contributions and impact she has made in developing best-in-class data and analytics for the marketing community in Canada. Jan has built her career on a simple but profound truth, that we can improve the lives of Canadians through transformative data and analytics by using statistics and mathematics to help solve business problems and improve society. And with that, please join me in welcoming Jan Kestle to the stage.
Thank you, and thanks to Jen and Grant for opening us up. I'm so happy to see everyone, although that's a little bit of a misstatement because I really can't hardly see anything out there at all. But it's good to have everyone here, to be together. This is our 17th user conference for Environics Analytics. In 6 weeks, we'll celebrate our 20th anniversary of the founding of the business. We've continued to grow over 20 years. We've grown in revenue and in the size of our business in the past year since we've seen you. We've grown in terms of the number of products. We've grown in terms of the number of customers. But we've particularly grown in terms of the number of parts of the business and your businesses that we touch. The theme is discovering the data difference. I kind of would have changed it if it weren't for the nice alliteration to creating the data difference. Because really, I think that's what happens, that's what you do. The difference in data, whether it's big data or traditional data or first-party data or third-party data or survey data or administrative data, or you know what I'm talking about. That's not really what makes the difference. What really makes the difference is what you, the analysts, the data scientists, the marketing strategy people, the curious people. What makes the difference is what you do with the data. And what we want to do today is really encourage you to do more and do everything you can with the data that you're already investing in, ensuring that we deal with quality as well as throwing a lot of technology. Methodology is very important in this era when there's so many technological solutions, and it's important that you, as the guardians, as the data stewards inside your organizations, take care that we're simulating reality as best we can, because if you're a statistician or a modeler or even an economist, you admit that, you know, if only everything else were held equal, this is what we could predict. That never happens. So it's a judgment call for you as the stewards of data in your organization to ensure that we're understanding what the problem is we're trying to solve, that the best data are being used within the context of budget, time, priority, and that when you're developing data and insights to help your organization get stronger, think about whether or not people can do something with it. What kind of data and analysis can we come up with that we can put into action and make a difference? Today, I'm going to review for you quickly the things that we've been focusing on for the past year. How we've been working on building more data and platforms to provide you with better opportunities to produce insights. What we think is really important for an industry in terms of enabling collaboration and how EA can help you with that. And finally, a little bit of an update on what we're doing to facilitate how you can take your insights and put them into action. So with that, and I think they've given me 20 minutes, so I'm going to very quickly talk to you about these, I think it's 17 things. Can you see the things that I've got there? The green things are the stuff that we've been doing at helping you really create better insights. The pink things are initiatives that we've been working on to help promote an industry collaboration. And the yellow things are things that we've been working on in terms of really making sure you can put data in action. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each. And this afternoon, there's a session where we're going to get more specific around products. But it's not our day to talk to you about our products. It's our day for you to hear from others. You will hear from 15 great speakers who will talk about what they're doing in their businesses in order to make their businesses stronger. You'll hear this morning, as Jen mentioned, from the media business. So I get to do a quick run through, and I'm sure there's going to be questions about every single item that I'm going to touch on. And I'm not going to touch on every item in detail. So you know where to find me. Everybody can give me a call or send me an email or talk to their account people. But here we go. First of all, we have been working hard on building data and platforms that really help the insights teams. And most of you work in marketing departments or as merchants or in the IT department, but really around insights. There are people here who work in media, there are people who work in agencies and people who work on platforms and publishers, but the bulk of people in this room are still our customers for our insights tools. And I know you're really interested in what we're doing to augment what you know about consumer behavior. So in the past year, we've updated our core databases, the ones you know and love, more than 10 times. We've delivered those databases to you in the platform Envision that about 1,000 users in Canada use to access our data. But we also do projects for many people who just don't have the resources anymore or never had the resources to take data and turn it into insights and take action. And for many organizations that do have the capacity, we deliver those files to you so that you can embed them in your own BI systems. And we've done a lot of work to improve how we get that data out the door to you quickly. We've added 2 new ones, EV Trends, which, as you can imagine, predicts the demand locally for e-vehicles, which is very important not only for the manufacturers of vehicles, but also for understanding the grid, for the retail network in gas retail, for looking at charging stations, and on and on and on. We also released New to Canada, which you'll hear a little bit more about this afternoon. And we've added a quarterly update to our business profiles. All of this in answering the questions for the consumer behavior. How do we understand what people do, what they're concerned about, and what they're most likely to spend their money on? A subset of that is the focus that we have on social values. 20 years ago, when we launched our first new Prism product for Canada, we celebrated the fact that it was the first geodemographic, remember we used to use that word, the first geodemographic segmentation system that actually incorporated psychographics as well as the concept of demographics and the concept of clustering together a multidimensional demographic variable. And that's been a significant difference between our commercial off-the-shelf segmentation system and any other one we've ever really seen or used around North America. It actually divides the neighborhood types at the postal code level into some groupings around the values that people hold, based on the survey that our former sister company, Environics Research, does, that gets at the hearts and minds of people. And never before have we had the opportunity that we have now of using that information about people's mindset to actually send a different message to different people. I remember in the 90s in the direct marketing business when it was a big deal in the US when Time magazine mailed and put on newsstands Time magazine with different covers. First time it happened. I guess they do it all the time now. But you know, it was a big deal to actually be able to change your creative. And I think that we haven't come as far as we need to from the 1990s to now to understanding how we can really leverage AI, leverage other tools. We have the data to help people understand what's the right hot button in a creative, what's the picture, what are the social values that represent your ESG values as a brand. We can combine your segmentation, your personas, your creative messaging, right to the execution. And you can add the last dimension, which is what media do people prefer, to get closer to the customer. And of course, we all want to get to the one-to-one, but while we get to the one-to-one, and we're looking for reach as well as relevance, remember the social values and the extent to which they can be tied in to your own customer data and understanding what you need to do to really motivate people. We also continue to do a lot of work on the databases that we combine so that we can look at disparate databases and understand by segment whether they prefer to shop online or offline. You know, do they go into stores? What is the size of a trade area? What's the size of a market potential? You know, how do we understand the link between the geographic world and the digital world? All the databases, the great databases that our survey partners, that administrative data providers, that our modelers produce, all the great databases that are produced by others in Canada, we have a special relationship with those providers to take those data and put them through proprietary methods to project the behavior of small groups of individuals down to the postal code and make sure that that's all done by us. Because if you had to do it yourself, it's a really big job. We have a huge team. We have built IP. We have ways of doing that to take data that already exists and make it available for you to use at the postal code level. And particularly adding that into the media planning side of your business. And you know, the magic for doing that is to look at the behavior of PRISM segments and then tie it in, either PRISM segments or detailed demographics, to say if people behave according to their type, this is what they're likely to do. And I can tell you, and everybody doesn't believe it, but I can go head to head anytime you want, that those kinds of projections, when you add them up across your database of 50,000 or 10 million customers, they will perform as well as any individual data because they're normalized. They have the outliers taken out. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try to connect with people individually, but you should also take advantage of the value of a cohesive view that PRISM brings to bring all of this great data that exists in Canada together. We've also been working very hard at harnessing big data. Big data, in the traditional sense, unstructured, fast-moving, lots of variety, that all of those things that we first learned when I think McKinsey wrote the first paper, and we all said, oh my gosh, this is great. I remember a leading market researcher in Canada was quoted on the front page of the Toronto Star to say, there's so much data out there, we're not even going to need a census anymore. Well, we're not going to go there, especially in Canada. But the truth is, these big data that come from signals are so valuable and challenging. And so we have a team led by leading researchers with spatial data scientists who are actually doing that, what I call harnessing, because harnessing it is. You've got to get rid of the outliers. You've got to normalize. You've got to weight. We get telecom data that relates to where phones go and sites that phones connect to from a variety of providers. We download trillions of rows of data, or bits of data, I shouldn't even use the word rows, every morning in something called S3 buckets from whatever. I'm not going to get myself in too deep here. But when we end up curating that data so that we can actually tell you, who drives by a Walmart to go to a Costco, on Saturdays at 5 o'clock, or, who went to an event, when we're trying to understand origins and destinations from detailed mobile movement data, when we're trying to take information that we have about websites where the data may not be comprehensive geographically, we have a heavy lifting job to do to actually input big data and predict for you what people are likely to do at the postal code level with a high degree of accuracy. And it's volatile, and these data change. And I can tell you that we invest probably more than a third of our R&D budget in constantly working on how to harness the big signal data, and have been doing it for 7 years. So we update it all the time, we normalize it, we test it against known control totals, and it enables us to produce, well, this past year, we've either enhanced or produced 6 new databases based on this new big data. And the key thing about it is it means that instead of having an annual or a quarterly update, which is appropriate, by the way, for demographics and things like PRISM, but for this kind of actual up-to-date consumer behavior, we can now produce good quality small area estimates, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. And we're so excited about the future that we have in continuing to model big data and make it part of our ecosystem. And of course, delivering all this data in a platform that's easy to use. And I think about Envision, but we're also looking at other platforms. And we're looking at APIs that enable you not just to take our data, but to take our workflows, our ideas about how to do things, our algorithms, our reports, and embed them in your workflows, combine them with your customer data, with your CRM data, with your digital response data, and really use the expertise that we have. Because I often say, there are many firms that have a great capability around analytics, modelers, statisticians, data scientists. We have a special niche. It's not so secret, but I say geography is our secret sauce. We tie things together, we link things together, we use advanced spatial modeling to create an ecosystem for you. And then we have a lot of ideas and a lot of experience about what you should do with that, to look at the gap, to look at untapped potential, to look at opportunities, to look geographically, to look across channels. So we embed that in software to put that at your fingertips. Our hope is that the kinds of analysis and reports that we provide you can answer 60, 70, 80% of the questions that your trained staff using our tools can produce the outputs that you need on a regular basis. And then the limited resources that most of you have to do more custom things or more sophisticated things, which of course there are, that your staff and your resources can go to the things that our 80% tool doesn't solve. That's what we're thinking about when we think of Envision. And we've had tremendous progress in this past year with organizations, like many in the room, of expanding their use of the platform for the very reason that then it does free up their BI departments, it does free up their data scientists to do other things. Well, we can help in a really easy way look at profiles, look at response, look at personas, look at media mix, look at a planning tool. We can give you tools to do that, and we can do that for national campaigns, we can do it for local campaigns, we can do it online, we can do it offline. That's what the tools are for. And we invest a lot, and you'll hear more about it this afternoon. We're investing a lot in modernizing that tool and making it available to you. At the same time, we have teams of people now who are working much more closely with you on enabling collaboration. Seems to be conference week. So every conference I've been at, we've been talking about breaking down the silos. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. The data is being bought for this group. we're kind of in an interesting position because we get to see what's happening inside most brands with the data. We're speaking all day with all the big agencies. We work with the media, we work with the platforms. And so we know, I had an executive at an agency say to me last year, you know, our biggest customer has your data and they don't even do anything with it. And I'm thinking, well, that big customer works all day tirelessly every day with us, with our data. And so there's a little bit of a disconnect here between insights and planning and media and measurement. And we're working with all those organizations to try to help get people together, to break down the silos inside your organizations, if we can help, and in the data and how it's used. And we think that the most important thing for that is really getting everybody at the table. And I know that that's a bit of a cliche, but it isn't happening nearly to the extent we can. We have a couple of people who've been going in to medium and large brands and running workshops, lunch and learns, how to use data, how to make your organization get money, get results, get performance out of data. And there really can be very transformational. We're not charging you for that. Ask us to come in and run the lunch and learn. Bring the people from down the hall who don't get to see the great work you're doing. Show them how the data that you're looking at for your customers can really help the whole organization so that the learnings and the insight don't fall between the cracks. And we're working really hard with the advertisers and agencies and the tech suppliers to make sure that you don't have trouble figuring out who's doing what. I think it's so complicated and it's so urgent right now that it's our job as suppliers to explain to you the differences between us and this guy and that organization. Because if you just read the top 3 lines of every marketing message, we all can do the same thing. But the truth is, when we all get together, especially in a small country like Canada, we can really help you faster. So ask your agency, ask your tech providers to get together with you and us at the table and divide it up and figure out how we can make you get your results faster. You know, there's always a kind of a magic quote. I heard this one a couple of years ago, that collaboration happens at the speed of trust. But I'm firmly convinced that collaboration happens at the speed of communication. And sitting on Zoom or Teams or WebEx with 6 people with somebody presenting a PowerPoint, it helped us get through some hard times, but isn't always the way that people can communicate effectively. So, you know, this is a mission of ours, and anything that we can do to help you get everyone who's helping you at the same table to decide your strategy and decide your priority is important to us. We also know how important it is for everyone to leverage their own first-party data, and many organizations are focusing heavily on that. You know, cleaning the data and organizing it in the cloud is one thing, and being able to match 2 databases so that you can understand the white space and the overlap is a key part of partnership opportunities, and it's a key part of your marketing effectiveness strategies when you're thinking about combining your own data with data that you're getting back from platforms and publishers, and looking at, if I spend money in advertising, does it really work? So combining 2 sets of first-party data is very important, and we have tools for doing that in a new solution that we call Clean Room, that I'm going to talk a little bit more about. But in order to do that, it's really important that we get at the issue of ID resolution. That's the buzzword. That means that I need to know that, this person is connected to this phone and this device and this TV, and when I'm trying to understand the whole ecosystem, I need to be able to see that. And that's very hard to do in any circumstance, but it's particularly hard to do in the privacy environment that we live in and the one that we're moving into. So, we specialize inside in our clean room services with helping prepare the data so you can match it better. We're helping with deterministic and probabilistic matching. The whole industry, many collaboratives, the associations are working on how can we get some kind of translator. Not going to repeat, well, I guess I'm going to say it once. Cookies are going away. Yeah, okay, so we know that, and it's a big problem. But we need to solve this other problem. My colleagues at Bell, not a commercial, because they're working very hard to work with the rest of the industry to introduce something that they've developed called Smart ID, talking with the other broadcasters for how we can create those kinds of solutions. I know the ACA and the IAB are also working very hard to find that great translator between the digital world and the actual personal world. We have as advertisers, you have as advertisers, responsibility to get your organizations to push the broadcast and the digital providers and the platforms to solve this issue of ID resolution so that we can understand a customer on an individual basis in a privacy-friendly way to know who's who. Our solution called EA Vault is a Canadian solution that links into global platforms for making sure that we can create clean rooms, safe rooms for combining data, make sure that we can attach to the cloud provider of your choice where your data are. We can understand whether it's important for you to have your data entirely in Canada or whether it can be housed somewhere else. Different containers through partnerships that we have with companies like Optable or Snowflake can ensure that we can help you use your first-party data and ID resolution and clean room technology so that you can really understand how to take these data and get the answers that you need. We're building tech layers on top, or we're building application layers on top of the technology that link to analytics and link to ad tech. But most importantly, what EA is bringing in our EA Vault solutions is a governance layer that take the worry out of what am I allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do with these data based on where the law is now and based on where the law is going to end up, because things are going to change. You know, we went through PIPEDA, most people too young for that, but you all spent a lot of money in implementing Kestle. Bill 27, you're going to have to spend more money, and there's a lot of regulations that we don't quite understand. And we can't sit back and wait till we get the final reading and we get the regs from the new legislation. The GDPR is in place, the Quebec bill is in place, and we have to help you get ready. EA's invested a lot of money in this. We're on the verge, probably October, of our certification of privacy by design. We decided to upgrade that to the EAUC23 new standard. And we're also building into all of our technology and our data development and applying those learnings to our services like Cleanroom to reducing the risk of re-identification. The draft of the law right now says 0. We have to work together to get the solutions in our industry to be sure that the trust and the relationship that we have between ourselves and our clients, which is very important, doesn't stand in the way of allowing our companies and our country to be data-driven. Finally, we're working very hard to facilitate action. So we continue to enable organizations to define audiences using our core data like Prism and Demostats. The common TV segments, which was an initiative we initially worked on with Chorus, but then resulted in industry collaboration. Those segments continue to be targetable in major platforms and DSPs. Custom segments are also available from many organizations, combining EA's data with first-party data. We're starting a new initiative with Bell Media to make it easier to do that. And we work with the other publishers and platforms as well to have our data be a part of their targeting solutions. And our data are useful for targeting at the middle of the funnel as well as at the bottom, because you need to make decisions between reach and relevancy. So using great curated custom segments is really important, but also putting it in the context of big segments is important too. We've done more in the last year to put data out there into platforms, and more platforms than ever before. I'm just going to say quickly, please, if you're in the insights and the data business, talk to your planners and your marketing department, talk to your planners and your media departments, talk to your agencies. It's over. 25 to 54 is not a segment. We don't need to do that anymore. We also, are working really hard on making sure that the tools that we come up with actually get executed. So not that we just have the plan, but that you can actually execute them. For TV, for addressable and connected TV, and you'll hear this morning more from our partners in the media industry on that, for digital. But also remember that people still do go in stores, and so merchants need to look at, are they a part of the omni-channel? We was at a presentation yesterday where our good friends from Transcon were talking about a great statement. The gentleman said, you know, the beauty of the weekly grocery flyer at the doorstep is it cuts through the digital clutter. Now, I remember in the direct marketing days when we were doing everything we could to get rid of those flyers, to get the clutter out of the mailbox, but everything comes full circle. And so now print also is a part of the mix. It's surprising us being so embedded in the digital world to sit back and listen to innovative programs like Canada Post and Transcon and others, other publishers. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that print's going to beat digital, but it's a question of print and, you know, it's one size doesn't fit all. And at the end of the day, the important thing is that we can measure. You know, it's still the holy grail, and I don't think, honestly, that we're nearly far enough. You get lift studies, you look at test and control, but there is so much more, and you know what? We're getting so much closer. EA stands for independent, high-quality measurement. We are statisticians and modelers and mathematicians to begin with. The measurement tools we have right now aren't perfect, and it's once again an area where collaboration of all of us is going to make a difference. Because it's the data that are going to tell you, did your strategy work? Did your mix of in-store and online work? Did you pick the right medium for the message for the right customer? We're on the verge of a measurement capability with clean rooms, with ID resolution, with the blending of first-party data, but the proof's going to be in the pudding. And everybody needs to get ready for it, but also take advantage of it. Because if you help your organization put it all together, you will win. And winning means that if you're a charity, you'll have more donors. If you're a business, you'll be more profitable. If you're a social service organization, you'll make your community better. And today you're going to hear from 15 of our clients who are going to tell you about what they did to use data to make a difference in their organizations. Thank you. So as much as it's been an exciting year for us at EA, here we go. We had a very sad moment that I wanted to bring to your attention because so many of you in this room knew our beloved Tony Lee, who was our founder, someone who I worked with for decades. And he taught so many people in the geodemographics and location intelligence industry in his time at TMU and at the U of T and other universities. He worked with many of you through the RCC, the ICSC, and he was engaged with you as customers while we were at CompuSearch. And he mentored our current leaders, Danny, John, Peter, Andrew, and so many others. He was the founder of this company, and although he's missed a lot, he's present in many discussions every day. How would Tony think about solving this? At the time of his passing, we were inundated with so many messages about his contribution. Many cited not just his contribution to methods and standards in Canada, but papers published, algorithms that were circulated and used around the world in the site selection business. But more than anything, we got hundreds and hundreds of messages about how open, kind, and helpful, how much he taught young people. And of course, you can't forget his wicked sense of humor. I'm sure any of you had the privilege of working with Tony will have a chuckle or two if you take a moment to think about some of the outrageous things that he did. So his wife Joanne and his son John, who are with us today, we just want to take a moment to remember Tony, and I know that very many of you will be thinking about him. We're working on his legacy living on in the establishment of a scholarship, which will be announced more formally later this fall by the supporters in the real estate industry. But money that's contributed to that in Tony's name will go to students who are going to study location analytics and really how it helps people's lives better and helps cities function and help businesses prosper. And I know that he'll be very happy when that happens and he hears about it. So thank you.